This is Apple Gamer 24/7. I'm here to give you guys a recap video today of the iPad 2 keynote. I really haven't done an iPad keynote video because I forgot to do it on the day of the keynote and that weekend because I was busy with some other things. But now I finally have some time to do an iPad keynote recap, so let's get started. So the first thing I do want to talk about is a little bit of the Apple updates that they always start out with. Is that one of the bigger updates that they had is that they sold 100 million iPhones, and since they launched in 2007, that's a lot of iPhones. That's a lot of people using the iPhone. I think that's great for Apple. I think most of that 100 million people came from Verizon because, as you guys know, Verizon iPhones they go out in mass numbers, and I think that's where they got their 100 million iPhones from. So great job for Apple for selling that much. And I think they will sell a lot more in the future. And they also talked about iBooks, how Random House is going to become a official publisher on the iBook store, and how they have indie publishers and some big ones, and they had a certain number of books. I'm not really a big fan of the iBook store. I don't think it's really mature yet, but I think as the year goes on, I think once the iPad 2, maybe the iPad 3 catches on, I think the iBook store will grow in mass numbers. So that's just my opinions about the updates. Now, as what Apple said about the iPad 1 is that they sold 15 million iPads since they launched it. So since February to March, they sold 15 million. I think majority of that comes from launch sales because, as you guys know, that they sold 1 million in 3 months. I think a lot of it does contribute to the launch sales because there's a lot of people waiting in line for the iPad 1 when it first came out, and I think there's going to be even more people waiting for the current generation iPad, the iPad 2. When it comes out on Friday. So yeah, and they also have 90% of market share of the tablet space. I think that will go up now because the iPad 2, because I think the iPad 2 has a lot of the features that people wanted in the first generation, but they couldn't do it because I don't think the software and the hardware was ready yet. But now that they have cameras and some apps, killer apps that they want, I think more people are gonna buy the new iPad and still go buy the old one since Apple's gonna sell that one too. And that's about it for that. And they also had a video on how it helped people in the medical industry, teaching industry, stuff like that. So they had a video on how it helps people overall. And I wish I could contribute my part because I use this thing 100% of the day at school. I take it with me to school pretty much every day. Use it to type on my assignments, keep track of my assignments, do work on it. And I barely even use some of the computers that they offer, even some of the Dells that they offer, I barely even use because this does it so much more efficient and productive. And the battery life is amazing because I don't know if I talked this in a previous vlog or not or another video, but I only use about 20% of the battery life, and I usually charge it every night before I go to school so I have a full battery. And by the time I get home, I have about 70%, 80% battery life left because I've been using it on full brightness, Bluetooth is on, Wi-Fi is on, I have the keyboard up, typing notes and pages. So I do a lot of processor intensive tasks, and this iPad is pretty much helped me in every way. So I wish I could contribute my part to it, but that's besides the point. And Apple also said they have 65,000, I'm sorry, iPad apps in the App Store of the 350,000 apps in the App Store. So of those 65,000, those are iPad exclusive apps. They're not iPhone ports. They're just iPad exclusive apps. So let's get into the big thing that everybody wants to talk about, which is the iPad 2. Now the iPad 2 is the newly designed iPad. Now the design is totally different from the previous model. I'll probably have a picture of it somewhere. And the design is pretty much taking after the iPod Touch. It's slim, it's sleek, it's really nice. Just for those people that want to know, the 3G version it will also be available and a Wi-Fi version. The 3G version will be incorporated both for AT&T and Verizon. So I think what you do if you get a 3G version, you take it home, you plug in iTunes, and you select your carrier. You activate your account, and then you're surfing on the web with their 3G network when you need it. But you can also connect to your home internet. It is the same display, the same 9.7-inch multi-touch glass display with a resolution of 1024 by 768. So the resolution did not change. It did not get a Retina display. I think if Apple wanted to make a Retina display of this size on an iPad, I think it would cost a lot of money because, as you guys know, look at the price of a 27-inch iMac. Most of the money towards that computer is mainly for the display, since the display is very large and the pixel density is also really good. So yeah. Just some specs about the new iPad on its thinness and lightness, I guess you can say, and weight. It's 33% thinner since the previous version. You also got rid of the wall around the perimeter of the first generation iPad, so there's normal walls. It's like a bubble, concave bubble. It's 15% lighter, so it's a lot lighter in the hand. You probably can read the book with one hand, which I always thought you could before. I don't know why people said you couldn't, but I always thought you could. So it's 15% lighter. Now, as for the technical specs of this new iPad, is that it has a dual-core 1 gigahertz A5 chip, which is a dual-core chip. Which this is the first dual-core chip that Apple has put in its rocks. I think it will make its way into the iPhone 5 in June, and also maybe the iPod Touch 5 in September. So it has a dual core chip, 1 gigahertz me, which they gave a little bit of specs on that. It's a 2 times better performance as the previous generation iPad. So you get a little more speed enhancement. And the previous generation iPad wasn't really slow. The iPad was really fast, and so is the iPhone 4 with the A4 chip. I think the A4 chip and the inside the iPhone 4 and the iPad is really fast. I don't think there was a speed decrease at all. But now you're getting 2 times better performance, and you also get 9 times better graphics. So games will look better, graphics look better, pictures will look better. So the graphics behind the iPad 2 is going to look really nice if you're a gamer. It has not dual core. It has 2 cameras on it: a rear-facing camera for FaceTime and a back camera for FaceTime and video recording and stuff like that. And they also introduced for the iPad FaceTime and Photo Booth. What Photo Booth is, for those that don't know, is that you can take pictures of yourself using the iSight camera on the Mac. Now they have ported it over to the iPad, so you can take pictures using the FaceTime camera on the front. So that's good for that. You can record 720p HD video with a rear-facing camera. Say you want to record a small family event, you can take your iPad out and record it. Then you can show it out to YouTube or put it on your computer for the edit on iMovie, and then put it onto Facebook or something. So that's good for that. They also have a new piece of software with the iOS on this particular iPad, which is mirroring. What that is that you can buy a dongle that Apple sells for $39, and you can plug a HDMI cable into it and plug it into the back of your TV, and you can use any app, even the home screen, and mirror it onto your TV. So if you're giving a presentation or you want to show somebody an app, but you don't want to, show them on the small screen, you can just plug in that cable, and you can mirror your iPad screen on your TV. So I think that's nice. And you can also do it on the previous generation iPad that only has 720p capability, but on the new iPad 2, you can do it up to 1080p. So that's good for that. I personally will like that if I'm gonna show somebody an app, or if I'm gonna do a presentation on my iPad. Since I have made presentations before on the iPad, and they have been better of what could have been done on a PowerPoint presentation if you were using the PC, in my opinion. Also, they introduced 2 new apps to the iOS, which means new apps are coming. iPad 2 specific apps is iMovie. iMovie's finally making its way to the iPad, and this is pretty nice. You can actually make edits on your iPad, and it actually looks a bit similar to the desktop version, but you can't do some of the effects. I think this is just a more better mobile version on a larger scale. So that's only for the iPad 2, since that's its dual-core chip. And GarageBand is also making its way to the iPad. Now, what that is, it's a music making app that Apple bundles in with iLife, that you can make music, you can make sound effects and loops with it. That's on the Mac. Now they have ported it over to the iPad 1 and iPad 2, and those apps will be $4.99. Now the iMovie app, if you already have it, if you bought your iPhone 4 or I did, and you got the new iPad 2, all you have to do is sync your iPad and select iMovie, and what it would do is it would create the universal binary, so you can stick it on your iPad 2 without rebuying the app for another $5. Wow, $5. Sorry guys, I can't really talk. So yeah, that's also coming out on March 11th. That is the same day that the iPad 2 will be coming out in the mass market, and that also corresponds with my birthday. So in case you guys are wondering why I was mad over the iPad 2, that's because it came out on my birthday, and I will talk about that at the end of the video. So yeah. Apple also announced the smart cover, which that is, it's a cover that goes over the screen. It has a microfiber lining to it. It's actually a pretty cool case. And what's cool about this is Steve Jobs loves magnets, so it's magnetized. There's no like having like a elastic waistband around it. You can just clip it on and all the lines. And what it does is that once you put it on, it turns your iPad off. And once you take it off, it turns your iPad on. So it's sort of mixed like some BlackBerry cases. I know do that. So Apple's trying to implement the same technology into the iPad, which I think is cool. And yeah, those will sell for $30 in the U.S. or $69 for the leather, and $39 for the polyurethane. So you can pick your textures if you want to. And the final thing is that it comes out on March 11th in the United States. It comes out, I believe, on March 25th for Canada, the UK, stuff like that, and I think a few other countries sometime in April. Now, the prices are still the same: the $4.99, $5.99, and $7.99, and the 549, 649, and 849 for the iPad 2 for 3G. Now, the thing about this is that it's coming out on my birthday, and I'm having a birthday party on that weekend. So if I get enough money, I will be selling my first gen iPad to buy the new one because indeed I was a little pissed off when I heard about this one. So I might be getting the iPad 2. If it does, I will definitely make an unboxing and a review. I know I promised a review of the first generation iPad, but I never got around to it, so I will make it off for doing a review of the second generation iPad. So that's our up in the air right now. I will let you guys know more next weekend when I do my vlog, when I let you guys know how I made out. So anyway guys, I will see you guys in the next video.